Long time no see, everybody. This is Sam Shadow here with a long-awaited video that I've been teasing this one for quite some time. And I think, without further ado, it's finally time to teach everybody how to build a full-scale working radionic box at home for under $50, under $40 really, and full scale, completely functioning, just like any other radionic box you would buy from any kind of supplier that would charge $500 or some outrageous price. And now you can own this very same box for the cost of utensils alone. So anyway, you viewer, yes you will be able to own a machine that can amplify and project psychic and magical intent. You will own a machine that can link on to a target, and through calculating a series of dials, cause changes and occurrences to happen within that target, within circumstances surrounding them. You can use photographs of geography to affect long-distance, wide-range targets. You could use this for agriculture. You could use this for alternative medicine. You could use this for a plethora of different things. So, without further ado, we're going to build a full-scale working radionic box. I'm going to put in the description below some JPEG files of the diagram for this box, the amplifying pattern, and the dials for the box as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, and these are going to be your basic utensils, and we're going to use copper wire. I paid $6.47 for that, and this was all using Amazon.com, by the way, and collectively I was eligible to get all these items with free shipping. So maybe if you use Amazon yourself, you might get free shipping as well. But I got copper wire for about $6.47. I got a cigar box for about $5.50. I got this set of jacks, which actually they are Fender bass amp jacks, believe it or not. And it came with, I forget how many of them. I want to say it came with 9 or maybe 8. But anyway, I got all of those for $6.28. And lastly, I got this set of 3K potentiometers for $7.83, and I messed up. I actually got 3 sets of 3, and that was for the combined cost of $7.83. But the good news is, in the end, I was left with enough utensils to build an entire other machine, so I choose. And altogether, this came up to be a little under $30. And it was free shipping, so Amazon.com. Last but not least, I neglected to mention speaker wire, which you can buy between the prices of anywhere from $6 to about $15, depending on what brand and what kind you buy. And it doesn't really matter, as long as it can split in two and you can peel back the coating, all you need is speaker wire. And last but not least, you will need scissors, electrical tape, an electric drill / screwdriver, weld bond, or any other kind of adhesive, perhaps Gorilla Glue. I don't know if super glue would do it or not, but you could try. But weld bond, Gorilla Glue, something like that. Weld bond's good, it's cheap, and it's non-toxic, and it sticks to pretty dang anything much you want it to. And you're also going to need needle nose pliers and a coffee can lid, which I do not have right here to show you right now, but you will see it in the video. Hello everybody, this is Sam Shadow. This is going to be my how to build a Radionic box full-scale video. As you can see, I've already gotten started laying out and mapping out some of the places on here. The model I'm basing this off of is one in Charles Cosimano's book Psychic Power, which was originally published as Psionics 101, but got a reprint under Llewellyn under this name. But I will show you what I originally based this off of, however I'm making a few changes. So this is the basic layout. As you can see, here's the witness plate, here's the rubbing plate, input, output, and then you've got your 3 dials. We'll get into what all those mean whenever we start operating the machine. But anyway, that's more of what it looks like on the back, and this would be the wiring, or a basic set of wiring without anything extra added into it, which we will add things into it in the future as I go along. But this is going to be just a basic how to build this machine, nothing fancy added to it, and yeah, it's going to work just great. So I've already gotten started. Right now I'm just going to drill all the holes that I need. These smaller holes, you're going to want to draw, or I'm sorry, you're going to want to drill 4 of them. These 3 tuning dials, and I'm adding an extra tuning dial. We'll get into what that means later on. But I'm also adding, I have right here the input and the output, and right up here towards the top, you're also going to want to drill 2 holes, one where the witness plate is, and one where the stick plate is at the same time. But once you get all those drilled out and get the dials put in, you're already halfway there, and then all you really have left is the circuitry. So there's no reason to really sit here and watch me drill all these holes. So I'll sit here and I'll drill one of the potentiometers for you, just basic how to what I'm doing for this, and then I'll drill in one of the input or output jacks. Alright, let's begin. Alrighty. Check and see if that's wide enough yet. What I've been doing is, if I can get it wide enough to where I can start to get the threaded part of the potentiometer through, I'll actually screw in the potentiometer like a screw and screw it into the wood because it's threaded. Okay, so that needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, that should be a lot better. There's no way that won't fit. There we go. Okay, and now I'll show you what I was talking about. So now I'll just screw it in there to make it a perfect fit. The other side of the board. I don't want to get it crooked, and that'll be perfect. And I'll hold it in place. Okay. Perfect. And now I can put my plastic part on. Oh, by the way, you want to make sure the top part of your dial is turned as far left as it can possibly go. And even if it doesn't look right, just make sure it's turned right, because the only part that matters is whenever it gets fully screwed on, you'll put the little cap on, and that's what you're going to do to go from 0 to 100 on these dials. So if it doesn't look just right, don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. Awesome. Good looking dials, and let's do one of the input and output jacks. Okay, let's see if that's big enough. No, it is not. needs to be just a wee bit bigger. Told you this was boring. See, this is why I'm not going to sit here and drill out every single hole individually for you. You get the point. But it's always good to remember, you can go bigger, but you can never go smaller. So, it's always good to have a little bit of patience when you're doing this. Yay! Okay, one of the input jacks is in. And what I'll do now is I'll take one of the input jack screws or bolts that go on top of this, little washers, and screw it on, which is one of these things right here. Hold it in the back. Try and get it on as tightly as you possibly can, and that is a beautiful output jack. So I've got 2 potentiometers on so far, and all I have to drill is 4 more holes. 1 more potentiometer, 1 more the input jack, and on top I have to drill 1 for the where I'm going to put our witness plate, and a tiny hole for where we're going to put our stick plate. As you can see, I have all of the potentiometers and both of the jacks placed into the box. We're done with most of the casing, but we still have to do all of the insides. And the next step I'm going to take care of will be the stick pad and the our witness plate, which for the stick pad, you're going to get a coffee can, map out 2.5 by 2.5, and make a little square. And that's going to be your stick pad. And for the witness plate, you can either get, it's really up to you. I'm using this small metal can because I personally think it looks better and it'll hold samples better. It's just my opinion. But if you don't want to do that, you can also get just a sheet of copper foil and cut out a 2.5 by 2.5 square. Put that there as well. So let's get started on this. First, I'm going to cut this out, and the very next step will be I'm going to make a copper, almost a copper swirl, and I'll show you that next. So I took the copper wire. I made a little, I don't know if you can see the coil or not, but I made a little coil, and I glued it to the back of the stick pad, and I made this little bent, just kind of bent it up like this. It's very easy and flexible, but this will be the side I glue face down for the stick pad. It's a little uneven, but it'll still serve its purpose. And on the right side over here is where that's going to go, and I'm going to feed the wire through the hole, and that's going to be the next step. So okay, so this is what I did. Here's the stick pad. As you can see, I took the stick pad. There was a tiny bulge from where the copper wire was, the copper wire coil, which looks like this, by the way. If you couldn't see it because of all the glue, I apologize, but you just want to take, like I said, the copper wire is very flexible. Just take some, make a little coil out of it, and make a little point coming off like this. See? It's kind of like a flat, like a little point coming off of it like this. And what I did was the coil, there's a coil at the bottom of the stick pad, and there's a coil at the bottom of the witness plate. And they're both facing downward, being fed through each of those holes. On each side, you can see where the wire is coming through on each side, through each one of the holes. There's the stick pad, there's the witness plate. But anyway, you can see where each one of those wires from the coils is coming through, and that's important. That's going to go to our wiring setup. Anyway, what I did here, I took my can and my screwdriver. I didn't really feel like I had to give you a one-on-one on how to use a screwdriver. All I did was I put my can right here. I just like on the stick pad. First, I put the coil down, and I electrical taped it on, made it nice and secure. Then I took my can for my witness pad and 2 screws, as you can see, one on each side, and I drilled them downward. And bada boom. And that is a very, very nice outside of the box. Now all we have to do to make this baby actually work is finish the inside. So right here on the inside, we'll do the most simple parts first. I realize that maybe not everybody has a soldering iron or knows how to use one. So even if you were to use a soldering iron, you'd have to put these pieces in place first. So I'm going to try my best to wire this up, because it's nothing that's going to plug into the wall or anything. So I'm going to do my best to wire this up and make all the connections without any solder. So if anybody at home wants to try this and you're not necessarily learning or wanting to learn all this craftsmanship, maybe it'll make it a little bit easier. But we'll start with the easiest pieces first. As you can see, right here on the backs of these potentiometers, there are little holes right here. This isn't a hole, but that is a hole. And there's 3 holes on each potentiometer, and we're wiring them from the furthest edge, the 2 that are closest to each other, so here to here, and then the next one I make will be here to here. So I know that that's bent kind of crooked, but it depends on how they get screwed in the final stages. You'll have to see for yourself when you make this. But from there to there, and all you have to do for that is take a piece of copper wire and judge about how long it's going to be for that. And I predict about this long. And I cut it. And what I'm going to do on each side is I'm going to make these tiny little hooks, as small as I can really make them, for fitting into those holes. Okay, now you can see something kind of like this. Okay, and now I'm going to fit one side in to this little hole. Okay, so that's in there like that, and then the next piece is going to have to clip in like this. Oops. I can't hum La Bamba. I don't want to get a copyright suit. You know how strict YouTube is these days. And there we go, kids. So we completed our simple 3 in a row. Okay, so the next step is you want to connect the input to the can. And that's very important. The input goes to the can. So what I did was I actually took a little bit of radio wire, I split it, and I attached 2 ends to the input, and I cut the other, skinned some of the plastic off and attached it to the copper, and then I attached everything securely with a little bit of electrical tape. So attach the input to the can wire, and we'll go from there. Okay, so you're going to want to connect, we obviously connected the 3 potentiometers. We still need to connect our attenuator. We'll get to that in a moment. But we connected our 3 potentiometers up top, and now what we need to do is we need to connect this potentiometer to the wire leading up to the stick pad. And the stick pad wire is also going to connect to our output wire. So what we're going to do with the output is you need to get some radio wire and you need to split it at both ends. Go ahead and have it split at both ends so you can connect it there, and then when you're done you can get it connected here as well. And then we're going to need to establish a connection between this wire and this wire. So another thing we can do is we could actually take a small piece of copper after we're done connecting the output to the stick pad and the potentiometer here, and then we'll just take a small clipping of copper wire, put it here, tape at both ends, because we're actually going to have to attach one more piece of radio wire going to this edge. We'll get to that later on though. Anyway, I'll show you what this looks like when it's done, and we also need to get started on our attenuator and connecting that to the to these potentiometers as well. Okay, so I've got the output connected to the stick pad, and where the stick pad connects to the potentiometers. I also connected the attenuator to the very next, the very first potentiometer. So it continues in the pattern in which it is, which it was created. But now we're going to, I'm going to take a section of copper wire and I'm going to put it here, very simple. I'm going to duct tape all of this together, connecting these 2 pieces of copper wire, or I'm sorry, not duct tape, but electrical tape. I'm going to take these 2, I'm going to establish a connection here, and then I will show you the very next step. We're just putting the final touches on this, and your machine will be ready to use. Okay, so I have made a connection between the can and the stick pad here. Obviously that was my only missing connection, and you can see where I've duct taped up the other connections that I've made, so everything's nice and secure. And over here I took my coil and I duct taped it down with the little part sticking straight up. So this is sort of kind of like what I did for the stick pad and the can on the outside earlier in the beginning. But here I duct taped it on the bottom, sticking straight up, and what we're going to need next is you're going to want to take an amplifying pattern. As you can see, I already cut mine out, and you're going to want to put this over that, puncture a hole through it, and glue it down. And you're also going to want another piece of radio wire with both ends split, and I will show you what to do with that next. Alright, so as you can see, I took the split wire, and what I did was I wrapped it over and over and over again around this middle wire, attaching the witness sample from the stick plate, and this wire goes all the way over here to our little coil, And once again, I wrapped it over and over and over again against the copper wire, and it leads to our amplifying pattern. And the most astonishing part of it is you have a 100% functional, all working, state-of-the-art Radionics machine. And this is absolutely no different than any of the Radionics machines that might go for, this is like a $500 machine or more, possibly. Like, this is a standard machine, maybe $500, $600. And I built this for such a cheap, low cost price of just the bare essential tools. And anybody can do this. This is not difficult to build. And now you have a very powerful, psychic, magical tool that we will use over and over again on my channel for different purposes. I hope you learned something from this. I hope that I made it clear enough that you can go home and build this on your own for no cost. Have a great night.